The foreign scene, Kenya's ex-chief judge says presidential bid spoiled by deadly protests and corruption. And in sports tonight, upsets rock day 2 as India falters. Global stars advance at badminton classics. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Uyi Agumofwebe, reminding our viewers that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Tonight, we'll begin by telling you Minister of Interior Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo has announced a policy that will provide lifetime salary benefits to senior officers retiring from the rank of Deputy Controller, or Commandant General and above. The policy, seen as major boost to officer welfare, was approved by President Bola Tinubu. Tunji-Ojo made the announcement while speaking at the 2025 ministerial retreat, where he detailed the ministry's achievements and reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening institutional performance and capacity across all agencies. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has lauded President Bola Tinubu for promptly approving the release of funds for constituency projects nominated by lawmakers across the country. Akpabio made the prompt approval and release funds to the various contractors handling projects in the constituencies, made possible for lawmakers to have something to take home to their constituents. Thomas Gimba has details.
Senator Akpabio said the prompt approval and release of funds to the various contractors handling projects in the constituencies has made it possible for the lawmakers to have something to take home to their constituents. The Senate President, who was represented by his wife, Unorma Godswill Akpabio, at the various commissioning sites, thanked the people of their support for him and the party in 2023. He urged them to continue to stand by the party and President Bola Tinubu, as well as replicate same for all APC candidates in 2027.
I would like to thank the President of this great nation for making it possible for National Assembly members to attract projects to their various constituencies. We can't take it for granted. May God continue to keep him, protect him as he serves this country.
Speaking at the ceremony, member representing Ikono Inni Federal Constituency, Emmanuel Okpong-Udo, thanked the Senate President for citing the 8 classroom block in his constituency, assuring him of the total support of the people of the Ikeno and Ene local government councils to the party and all its candidates in 2027.
All these projects wouldn't have been possible if through the National Assembly support given by Dr. Godswill Akpabio to the President, who has agreed to allow us have this constituency project and fund it, not just to give, but to fund it. As I was speaking with Iboro in the car, in their time, they never used to even fund. But through the President and the Senate President, we have gotten something to bring back home. May God bless in Jesus' name.
Earlier, Senator Akpabio had commissioned some similar constituency projects in Oruk, Annam local government area, which also witnessed a massive turnout of constituents to welcome the senator and his entourage. Topsy Gimba reporting for Global Television News.
Well, thank you so very much, Gimba. Every Friday, as the sun reaches its peak, something extraordinary happens around the world. Across cities, towns, from continent to continent, hundreds of millions of worshippers pause their daily routines to answer a sacred call, the call to Jumu'ah, the Friday prayer. In this report, Sadia Yakubu tells us more.
More than just a weekly ritual, Jumu'ah is a powerful symbol of unity, brotherhood, and spiritual renewal, a moment that brings the global Muslim community together in heart, purpose, and prayer. It begins with the adhan, the call to prayer, echoing through neighborhoods and markets, reminding the faithful to come to pray, come to success.
Especially the day, Friday, is a unique day among the 7 days of Islam. Jumu'ah It's an avenue that all the Muslims come together, irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of your region. We come all together to pray in a single rose, to pray as one ummah, and also to pray as one entity.
People closing shops, students leaving class, workers stepping out of offices.
It unites us together by coming together, praising Allah together and in remembrance of Allah. With that, we show our love to each other and help each other with every little way we can.
Jumu'ah transcends social class, race, and nationality. Whether a businessman in Istanbul, a farmer in Nigeria, or a student, all stand shoulder to shoulder, equal before God.
What the Imam teaches us is about for us to fear God Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He is the one that created us, He is the one that sustains our life, and with the fear of Allah, the Muslim Ummah in general will move ahead.
In an increasingly divided world, Friday prayer serves as a weekly reminder that Muslims are one Ummah, one global family. The mosque becomes a place of connection where differences melt away and hearts unite. Friday prayer is more than a communal obligation. It is a living, breathing connection that spans continent, a global synchrony that reminds every Muslim. Despite different cultures and languages, the same words are recited, the same God is worshipped, the same unity is felt. In Jumu'ah, Muslims find more than prayer. They find unity, strength, and belonging. In a world of distractions and divisions, Friday prayer is a weekly reminder that we are one in faith, in purpose, in peace. Sadia Yakubu reporting for Global Television News.
Evidently, there is something significantly spiritual about the Friday prayer. Thank you so very much, Sadia. The Department of State Services, DSS, has filed charges before a federal high court in Abuja against 9 persons accused of deadly attacks on Benue and Plateau states. The charges were filed over the killings in Yelwata, Goma local government area of Benue State, as well as in parts of Plateau State, which left over 40 persons dead, many others injured, and hundreds displaced in both states. The charge sheet indicates that one Haruna Adamu, Muhammad Abdullahi of our local government area in Nasarawa State and others still at large had on June 13, 2025, allegedly carried out attacks against the people of Abinsi and Yelwata villages. The federal government has announced a 6-month ban on the export of raw shea nuts, one of the key ingredients used in beauty creams, chocolates, and pharmaceuticals. The government says the move is aimed at transforming industry, creating jobs, and empowering rural communities. Here is Obong Usoro's report.
Nigeria is the world's largest producer of shea nuts, harvesting about 350,000 tons every year. Despite producing nearly 40% of the world's supply, the country earns just a tiny fraction of the over $6.5 billion global shea industry.
Transform Nigeria from an exporter of raw shea nuts to a global supplier of refined shea butter, oil, and other derivatives. So this is a welcome development, and I want to highlight the gender dimension of the whole value chain, because women are responsible for 90% of the pickers. By protecting the shea industry, we are protecting livelihoods, dignity, and opportunity for millions of our women.
Vice President Kashim Shettima noted that the ban is part of efforts to industrialize the sector by encouraging local refining of shea butter rather than simply exporting the raw nuts.
This will even improve the economy in Nigeria, because we can now tag all the pressing of the shea nuts will be made in Nigeria, shea nuts or shea butter, yes. And apart from that, I understand there may be some level of confusion and some cash gaps while we switch from selling the nuts to selling butter.
The move has attracted the attention of the global players in the agricultural value chain.
So when they take it out, they now change the form and now bring it back to us with an exorbitant rate. So the price tag on it is so high that you don't realize that even what we ought to enjoy as the owner of the product, we don't.
On the streets, opinions are mixed. Some see the ban as a bold step that will bring more jobs, while others worry about its short-term effects on rural farmers.
They must have seen reasons why they have to ban it. First and foremost, those agencies, they must have gone through research method to see the value or the nutritional value or the endemic value on what it takes on human consumption.
Experts argue that the ban must go hand in hand with better regulations and investment in local processing facilities. At the moment, Nigeria hopes that the 6-month ban will transform the shea industry from a source of raw exports into a global powerhouse for refined and diversified products. Ubong Usoro, reporting for Global Television.
Quite a radical move there by the Bola Tinubu administration. Thank you, Ubong Usoro. The Association of Resident Doctors Federal Capital Territory Chapter has urged the government to urgently address rising challenges in the FCT health sector, warning that continued neglect could cause systemic collapse. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, the chapter's president, Dr. George Ebong, joined by other executive members, described health system in Nigeria's capital as a long-standing systemic failure requiring comprehensive and immediate reform. At its third quarter ordinary meeting in Abuja, the association advised urgent intervention in areas such as manpower shortages, non-functional equipment, working conditions, as well as unpaid staff allowances. Anambra State's government has banned the practice of writing assignments inside textbooks, describing it as wasteful and unsustainable. The ban is said to be aimed at making textbooks reusable, especially for younger siblings or pupils who would need them when they advance to the next class. A statement released by the State Ministry of Education says State Commissioner for Education, Professor Ngozi Chuma Ude, was quoted as announcing the ban while addressing participants at the third day of a capacity building workshop organized by the Ministry for Private School Proprietors and Teachers at St. John of God Secondary School in Awka, the state capital. Members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Polytechnics have issued a fresh 21-day ultimatum to the federal government to address all lingering issues with the workers or risk nationwide industrial action. The 21-day ultimatum, which began on August 27, 2025, was contained in a communique issued at the end of the association's 77th General Executive Council meeting held at the Abuja Bako College of Agriculture, Dambata, in Kano State. The Polytechnic workers demanded the release of the new scheme of service, constitution of the renegotiation 2010 Agreement Committee, payment of all owed arrears, and the release of the 2023, 2024, and 2025 needs assessment funds. This is Global Television, and tonight you're watching the live broadcast of News Prime with Uyi Agumofwebe. When the rest of the news returns, Nigeria bans export of shea nuts to boost local production. Details as well as stories from the foreign and sports scenes for you. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us, everyone. This is News Prime on Global Television. The second part of the broadcast now returns with business. The National Economic Council has approved their Renewed Hope Development Plan 2026 to 2030, designed to fast-track Nigeria's target of attaining a $1 trillion economy. The decision was reached at the 151st Council presided over by Vice President Kashif Shettima at the presidential villa in Abuja. Briefing State House correspondents after the meeting, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, explained that the Renewed Hope National Plan is a segment of a 30-year development blueprint that emphasizes inclusivity and accelerated growth.
30-year perspective plan provides that 6 5-year medium-term plans will be developed in its implementation, the first being 2021 to 2025, which is expiring by December this year.
Also giving an update on the nation's financial position, the Accountant General of the Federation, Shamsuddin Ogunjimi, who represented the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, reported that the excess crude account stands at $535,823, while the stabilization account and natural resources account hold over 78 billion and 106 billion naira respectively.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy gave an update on the following account balances. First, excess crude account, which stood at $535,823.39. Second is the stabilization account, which stood at 78,453,757,583 naira 19 kobo. The third account that was presented was the natural resources account, which stood at 106,727,969,527 naira 59 kobo.
On health matters, the Council endorsed preparations for the next phase of the National Immunization Campaign. It urged the Accountant General to release funds promptly to guarantee a hitch-free exercise. The approved immunization drive includes a September 11 to 14 campaign in high-risk states, as well as a nationwide integrated vaccination exercise in October to protect children under 14 against polio, measles, rubella, and malaria. Governors represented by Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State disclosed that deputy governors will spearhead state task forces, while local government chairmen are to coordinate mop-up operations after each round.
Nigeria was declared polio-free in 2020, which is 5 years ago. However, a new variant emerged, and it is that variant that we are now fighting to ensure that you also eradicate it out completely. And like I've said, the numbers are reducing, but you know, especially in the areas of the northwest that border Niger Republic and to some extent even getting down to Borno, bordering also Chad and Niger Republic. The issues of porous borders resulted to movements whereby you cannot control, who comes and who goes out.
Meanwhile, security agencies have been directed to provide adequate protection in vulnerable areas, especially in Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi states. Wuyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News. Still talking business, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company has alleged that the company is under attack from forces it says are opposed to its ongoing transformation efforts. Ojulari disclosed these while hosting the leadership of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Bengatson, in Abuja. He stated that change comes with a price, noting that the management of the company will not succumb to pressure from individuals seeking to derail reforms aimed at repositioning the company for the benefits of Nigerians. Now time to go to the foreign scene, where Kenya's former Chief Justice David Maraga says he is joining the 2027 presidential fray against incumbent President William Ruto. Famous for heading the unprecedented ruling nullifying the 2027 vote results, Maraga came out of retirement after seeing the government's violent crackdown on protests. 74-year-old former Chief Justice David Maraga made his name in 2017 when his bench of judges in the Supreme Court nullified the result of the presidential election over what it called irregularities and illegalities, largely considered an unprecedented ruling in Africa.
People can do, those in power and those who have connections can do whatever they want to do. We knowing that nothing will happen to them, and you know that is the sure way of headed to anarchy. When you have a country where the leadership has very little regard for the law, that is we are headed for anarchy.
Justice Maraga, who came out of retirement in June to announce his presidential bid, said he had not previously considered a political career, but was shocked into action by President Ruto's violent crackdown on protesters.
And other things then came last year when the Gen Zs protesting against the finance bill. What I saw horrified me, particularly the shooting and all that. I said, look, I mean, we are losing the country. What came to my mind is that we are losing the country. And I see my country going down. And I see the youths being killed, being kidnapped, and I do nothing about it. I said no. I am prepared to go into the murky environment.
President William Ruto has seen his popularity plummet since coming into power in 2022 over continued economic stagnation, corruption, police brutality, and abductions targeting government critics. Ruto has stood firm against waves of violent protests seeking to force his resignation in mid-2024 and again in recent months, in which hundreds have died or disappeared. Uyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News. Now time to turn to sports for you. The National Sports Commission, NSC, has formally recognized the Association of Former Female Athletes of Nigeria as a stakeholder in the governance of national sports federations. The move aligns with the International Olympic Committee's agenda of enhancing women's participation in sports leadership. National Sports Commission Chairman Shehu Diko and Director General Bukola Olakbade said the decision reflects Nigeria's commitment to gender inclusion in sports administration. The 2025 National Youth Games comes alive with the ceremonial past at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, showcasing Nigeria's rich cultural diversity at the opening ceremony. While few events have also started in Asaba, the state's capital and host of this year's edition, some of the athletes are getting ready inside a multipurpose hall where the table tennis event will be held. The second day of the 8th Lagos International Badminton Classics lived up to expectations with 42 matches delivering drama, upsets, and world-class performances at the Teslim Balogun Indoor Sports Hall. Players and officials praised the Badminton Federation of Nigeria for its hospitality and seamless organization as the tournament continued to attract global attention. And tonight we end Global TV News Prime with a look at some of our big stories. Every Friday, as the sun reaches its peak, something extraordinary happens around the world, across cities, towns, and from continent to continent. In business, the federal government has announced a 6-month ban on the export of raw shea butter, nuts, one of the key ingredients used in beauty creams, chocolates, and pharmaceuticals. On the foreign scene, Kenya's former Chief Justice David Maraga says he is joining the 2027 presidential fray against incumbent President William Ruto. Finally, in sports, the second day of the 8th Lagos International Badminton Classics lived up to expectations, with 42 matches delivering drama, upsets, and world-class performances at the Teslim Balogun Indoor Sports Hall. And that's News Prime for tonight. Thank you for watching. On behalf of my colleagues who have made this broadcast possible, I'm Uyi Agmofwegbe saying here is wishing you a very pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.